Hey guys, Vas here from Aussie RC Playground and welcome to another unboxing. Today we have an unboxing with a difference. We're actually going to be unboxing a plane. Now, good thing about planes is that we're now coming into spring and the weather's getting a little bit better, and I've already been flying a little bit, sort of getting the feel for things again, because in the winter months it's really not very good. The grass is always wet, so landing means that you end up with grass all over your planes. It also means that you have to be out there with scarves and gloves and to stop your hands from shaking, which is a bit of a nuisance. So once the weather starts to get a bit better and you get those long afternoons, as we're going in towards summer, it really becomes very inviting for me to go out, on an afternoon when the wind has settled down a little bit, or even early in the morning, and do some flying. So I'm really starting to get inspired again. And one of the things that Hobby King have released recently is this guy, which is the Tornado 75. And yes, it is from Hobby King, as I said. Now, Hobby King actually advertised this plane as a good entry EDF plane. So I've already got a fair bit of experience in flying. I've flown various different planes. If you haven't seen some of my flying videos, be sure to check out some of the other videos on my channel to see exactly what I've been up to in regards to that. So I think that this is a good step up. It's time for me to get onto the next level and try something different. Why not go for an EDF? For those of you who are new and don't know what EDF stands for, it's electric ducted fan. So that's what it is. So instead of having a propeller, it actually has a fan inside the fuselage. And anyway, you'll see exactly what I mean when I unbox this thing. Now, something that's a little bit intimidating to me though is that this guy actually runs on a 6-cell LiPo, and I did pick up a battery for it. This is the battery I got, which is a Turnigy 3000 milliamp 6S 30 to 40C. Hoping this guy does the job fine. It does have a slightly different plug on here than what's in the plane. The plane comes with an XT60 connector, which means this one will have to be chopped off, and I'll have to fix that up at a later stage before I actually plug this whole thing in. But I do have various other 3-cell packs here, so maybe I can actually put a couple of 3 cells and run it in the plane as well. We'll see how we go. Now, enough jibber jabber, let's crack this guy open, because I'm sure we're all dying to see what's in the box. And I'm really keen to get this guy up in the air, so I want to try and get it together tonight, because tomorrow is Saturday and the weekend promises to have some really nice weather. And I'm hoping to get this guy in the air and give you guys some flying footage as well. So this is how it comes packaged in a box. There's a spar right there for your main wings. Got the landing gear over here. We might as well take this guy out. So big wheels, which is ideal for landing on grass, which is where I tend to fly. So we have front and rear landing gear, some screws, a few other bits and pieces. I guess we'll get to that when I start putting it all together, I guess. All right, next thing here, rear stabilizer. Another cool thing about this plane too is that it doesn't require any glue. Everything bolts on, and all your control horns and everything are already mounted on these servos. Now, is this a sealed bag? It is. I'll cut this guy open a little bit later and give you a better look, but yeah, everything's already done. You just have to plug it all in, screw it all into place, and connect to your receiver. Make sure you tune up your radio, and away you go. All right, so that's that one done. Now let's get all of these big pieces out of the way. We'll get rid of this foam, and we'll get rid of this big one. And there's my rear wing vertical stabilizer, I guess. All right, one wing, 2 wings, and as I said, everything is already ready to go. So all I got to do is plug everything in. My servo leads and everything is already there. So yeah, I think it's going to be put together very, very quickly. And here is the main fuselage. Is there a manual? Yes, there is. There's a manual in here as well. It's a bit small, but wow, it's pretty well illustrated. Hopefully all the instructions are pretty straightforward. It even tells you where the CG is supposed to be, which is awesome. You do want to know that. CG is, of course, center of gravity. And unlike cars, although cars do get affected with CG as well, but planes even more so. So you do want to make sure that the plane has the right CG. It's not too tail heavy, it's not too nose heavy, in order for you to be able to fly properly, because otherwise you're going to be constantly fighting the plane. You're not going to be really flying, you're going to be more fighting for it to stay up there. I've had that experience before, it's not fun. All right, so here's the main fuse. Good God, this thing is big. Look at this. Wow. All right, now is this a sealed bag? No, it's not. All right, oh, there's my EDF, I see it already. Okay, get this guy out of here, toss the bag over there, And I may as well get rid of the box, although I will have to remove that spar a bit later on. So we can get this guy out of the way and have a look at this thing. Wow, this is cool. All right, so there's your EDF. So you can see the fan is in there. Oh man, I cannot wait to run this. Okay, so to get access to the inside, there is, all right, so, okay, so it has, I see it. All right, so it has this little kind of clip over here. You push that back, this guy lifts up. So it's not exactly secured with magnets. It actually has a closing latch, and that's the top canopy. So it's all hollow. And of course that comes with a little tongue on the end there. So you can actually slot that into place like so. And hey presto, it's back in and it won't go anywhere. So very, very cool. We'll pop this guy aside for the time being and I'll give you a look at the guts of it. So that is how it looks. And you can see down the end, that's where the EDF is. So it sucks in air from these big vents. Where's my finger? It sucks in air from here and from here. So, and of course from the top as well. So you can see that's all ventilated at the top. Very, very cool. Oh man. Okay. The front landing gear also has a steerable wheel. So there's actually a steering servo. There's actually a little servo at the front here that's connected with an aluminium servo horn, believe it or not, right at the front of the nose there. And that will of course help you steer and taxi the plane out to your takeoff and landing strip. It does have some balsa wood on the inside in case you haven't noticed that already. So this of course is going to give it a lot of added strength, and it does have a plastic nose. So pretty cool. Everything is foam except this little bit here. And there are little bits of plastic kind of scattered around, like even here, which is where obviously my vertical stabilizer is going to connect up to. You can see all the connections for your servos and everything's already there. There's also a bit of plastic underneath here. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to get to work. I'm going to start putting this guy together, and if I don't come across any issues, I'll come back with the thing fully assembled. If I find that there's a couple of tricky spots, I may just film a little bit for you and give you some pointers as I go along, because this is all new to me. So I guess we're going to learn together here. All right, so let's get going. Okay, so I've stopped here a little bit just to show you a couple of things that I found in regards to putting this plane together. In the manual, it actually says for you to start with the rear of the plane. So you're supposed to mount your horizontal and vertical stabilizers first. So, the rear wings of the plane. However, you are going to need to sort of turn the plane upside down and flip it around as you screw things on. And if you have these wings already here, they're kind of going to be leaning on the bench. The plane becomes really unstable. And unless you have a stand where the plane can actually sit off the bench, it's going to be a little bit tricky to do that without damaging specifically your vertical stabilizer. So I'm going to leave the back of the plane until last because I'm going to need to screw a few things here, and it just makes more sense for me to do it this way. Start with the main wings and finish off at the rear of the plane. Now, in regards to this aluminium spar that they provide for the main wings of the plane, the spar has a little bit of a hole in it that's meant to screw on to this little hole right here. This little guy right here. So when you mount the spar on the plane or into the plane, you want to make sure that the holes are facing downwards. In fact, the way I did it is I actually connected the spar to the wing first and made sure that I lined up that hole, put my screw in there, and then I actually fed the wing with the spar already in it all the way down through the plane. And now when I mount this wing, it should line up pretty right to where the hole is, and I can put my screw on there without any problems at all. So just a couple of little tips there. This is what I found so far. I'm going to keep going. If I find anything else, I'll come back. Okay, so I'm almost done. As you can see, the plane is already together, landing gear is on and everything. I've actually got my battery in the plane, even though nothing's connected, just to weigh it down, because if you don't have a battery in there, it tends to tip backwards. So something to keep in mind there as well. Now, I'm just about to put my vertical stabilizer on, and I figured I'll share this little sort of tip that I picked up quite a long time ago. And it's nothing new. If you're into planes, you already know this. But for those of you who are new, this might actually come in a little bit handy. So as you can see here, one of the things that I need to do is actually plug these two connections together. Now, if you leave them as they are and, you know, as you fumble around, moving your batteries around and everything else, you may actually unplug this without even knowing. And before you know it, you take off, or it might even come off in flight, which is even worse. And then, you know, you lose control of this surface, which can be catastrophic. As a matter of fact, if you lose control of any surface, it can be catastrophic. So one of the things that I learned quite a long time ago is to get myself these little guys. Now there's a couple of different variations available. I picked these up from Hobby King. These are multicolored. I've got a yellow one here. There's a pink one. I've got a blue one in there, and I've got a couple of black ones in there connecting the main wings as well. But you know, this is really nothing for me. It's something that I've known for quite a while now, ever since I got into flying. But for somebody out there that's starting out, this is something that may be very, very important, is to get these little clips. And essentially what you do, all you need to do is basically clip in or plug in your controls here. So I'll do this very quickly. And then this guy will just simply slide over the top, and I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see how it all works. This will just slide over like that. All right, and I'll bring the plane up. Whoa, there we go. And it looks like this. So this stops the connections from coming apart, and that's the whole idea here. You get yourself some of these, they don't cost very much, and believe me, they could save your plane. So I'm going to finish this off now very quickly, and I'll come back and summarize, and we're done. Okay, so there we go. The plane is all assembled and ready to take to the skies. I can't wait for tomorrow because the weather promises to be very nice, and hopefully I'll get some really nice flight footage for you all to see. And now I'll bring the plane up close. I can't bring it too close because it is quite big, and you won't be able to see too much of it. But that is the whole thing assembled and ready to go. So very happy with how everything went together. A couple of little things to take note of. There is a little grub screw that goes in your front landing gear here. That does not come with Loctite on it, so I strongly suggest you put some Loctite on this little grub screw just to prevent it from backing out during flight, because I mean, you're going to have some vibrations and so forth going through the plane. Last thing you want is the front landing gear to drop off, and then you'll only be landing with the rear landing gear, and that's not going to be a good thing for the plane. The other thing that I kind of did a little bit differently, this plane is advertised as not needing any glue, and technically they are correct. However, I did put some epoxy in my rear stabilizer here, purely because it has only 2 screws securing it in place, and I felt that it was a little bit flexible. It didn't sit quite right. So I put a bit of epoxy on either side, not too much, just enough to secure it and to stop the movement, and hey, everything was good to go. Another thing that I had to modify as well was with my vertical stabilizer. You kind of have 2 plugs. So you have one servo plug for this main vertical stabilizer here, another one for the horizontal stabilizer, because it does have 2 servos on there. And then the whole thing's supposed to feed through. Now there isn't a lot of room in here, and then since I used those little clips to keep my plugs together, there was even less room. So in order for me to put all of this together, sorry, my radio keeps beeping after a while when it remains on standby. So for me, in order for me to put this vertical stabilizer in place, what I did is I actually had to cut a little bit of an alcove on the inside of the foam here, just to give me a little bit of room to be able to push it down and make everything fit. Wasn't really a big deal. Took maybe, you know, just a couple of minutes to cut it up with a nice little hobby knife, nice and sharp, and you'll cut out a little bit of a slot inside just to allow your plugs to go in. So something that Hobby King can look at in the future when you know, they were sort of looking at updating this guy. See if they can get a little bit more room in here to feed your plugs, because even without those extra connectors that I put on there to secure my plugs, I still feel that it was really, really tight. So that's my only sort of complaint about the whole assembly. Everything else went together very smoothly, very quickly as well. It didn't take me very long to put this guy together. Obviously, thanks to all the control surfaces and everything already being, you know, my servos are in place, my control horns are in place. I did find, however, that my horizontal stabilizer, Jesus, so many names. My horizontal stabilizer had the control surfaces facing down quite a bit. So I could have done it with the sub trim on my remote, but I felt that it was too much, so I did have to remove my control horns here, my little clevises, and kind of undo them a bit just to straighten out these control surfaces. And of course now I can trim the plane in the air without any problems at all. And that's it. that's really the only thing that I came across. Everything else went together very smoothly, very quickly, and I'm very, very happy with the end result. The plane looks fantastic. Everything is working as it should, and of course, it has plenty of power. I only have a 4S battery in there at the moment because, you know, I haven't changed out the plugs on the 6S, something I'm going to do off camera, of course. But yeah, I'm going to get everything ready for tomorrow. Try and get some nice flight footage for you so you can see this guy in action. Hopefully I don't crash it. Fingers crossed, eh? All right, so that is it from me, guys. Please be sure to check out the video description for more information on the plane, as well as a link to my Facebook page. So please go out there and give that a like. Keep you a couple of steps ahead of what goes on here on YouTube. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Look at that. Style.
Wow, it actually doesn't glide too bad at all. Oh, look at that. That was flawless. Awesome. All right, let's see what the GPS says. Whoa! Are you serious? 145 kilometers an hour. Jesus. It's a lot faster than it looks. Wow. That's pretty impressive. That is very impressive. Okay, let's reset.